This is actually my first live episode. Um, so we'll see how it goes. Just as a reintroduction, my name is Leonila Campos. We're doing this live for my podcast, Simple Nutrition Insights. And today I have a special guest, Jessica. She is a dietetic intern. So we're going to talk about her journey as a dietetic intern, as well as being in the nutrition program. And so, welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's start with the first question. What inspired you to pursue a career in dietetics?
That is a great question. And I'm sure if you ask that, you'll get several different answers as to why someone joins dietetics. So I actually want to say that I joined because a little bit about my background, I was actually in foster care and I was sick all the time growing up. And so when I became an adult and I was able to buy my own groceries and feed myself and make like better choices on what I ate and what I consumed, I noticed like I became healthier and I was in charge of my own food choices. So I just fell in love with nutrition and dietetics and I wanted to pursue that as a career path.
Awesome. That's really inspiring, right? Because of how just your journey, right, as growing up and really taking into the nutrition aspect of it, right? Like I have my the ability to buy my own food, right, and make healthier choices, and and go into a career, right, in nutrition. So that's amazing.
I
Very
know.
nice.
I actually thought I was wanted to be a nurse, and then I'm like always looking at ways on like how to boost my energy or what was good for your skin or your hair or and then they were like, "Why don't you become a dietitian?" I'm like, "What is that?" And then here I am.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Not 'cause it's not something that a lot of people know. Maybe if someone said, "Why don't you become a nutritionist?" Right, that would be probably
True,
more like,
very true.
"Oh, I know what that is." But a dietitian, right, is something more unknown. Same thing with me, right? I was in college or in high school, and and I wanted to do something with nutrition, and so yeah, I didn't even know what a dietitian was either. So, but I think that's changing slowly, hopefully. Can you share a memorable experience from your internship? I know you just started, but like maybe something memorable that comes to mind.
For my internship. So far, I am just starting my rotation. So I'm in my first rotation with Leonila, and this is my business rotation. And so far is definitely like eye opening. What it takes to like run a business and everything that goes into it. I would say time and work life balance is very important. So, what I think has been really great so far is just like, you know, learning the part about like networking and, adapting your communication style to the client or the patient. And I would say one of the most memorable part for me was just seeing how you changed your style and how you were able to meet like the patient where they were at. You're very, like I said, you're very soft spoken. I think I've told you that before, and I'm just like amazed with like how you just know like the right thing to say, and you're able to like build that credibility with the patient. So I think that was really great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely am curious to do this interview at the end of your internship and just see how that, build on to that and how much you grow. But we'll
Okay.
have that. Put that pin on our calendar.
Okay.
This is a good one. How do you stay current with the latest nutrition research and trends? Because that is something that, as dietitians, right, as nutrition professionals, we we have to like really be up to date, right, with that. So
Okay, so I could share a few different things. A couple different my resources is one, you have to frequently check your email. So I do get a lot of like emails again from the academy, which about like nutrition. trends, but also too, I also work at a university, so I work around a lot of students, and I work with them as far as like like the dining hall or like the food, and I'm able to see like what students they gravitate towards. Is it like the healthier cooked grilled pork like food choice, or is it chicken nugget and fries because they like the fried food and it's quick and it's easy. And a lot of times like students will come in and they're with a laptop and they're pretty busy. A lot of students, they go to school full time. So I do observe that. I also on social media platforms, usually Hot Topics, you like go on there and you kind of see like, oh, that craze that they had about this is Jennifer Aniston's favorite way to make a salad, or this is something she eats every day, and then you'll see a remake of it. And I think, did you hear about that? What is it, the Green Goddess dressing or something like that? But I think a few different resources, like what I'm able to see like in person, because at a university there's so many different populations and groups. And then again, like I said, my emails that I receive, and then social media also keeps me update to the current trends of nutrition.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And once you become a dietitian, right, we are legally, we have to do 75 units, right, education, continuous education units, in order to keep our credentials, right? So that is something that that we have to do in like in that 5 year span. But that, just like doctors, right, or these other health professionals, we have to keep up to date with the latest trends, with the latest research information, to be able to provide evidence-based information. Mm-hmm. And so, no, it's not that we just learn something and then we stay like that, but we have to continue to learn things.
Absolutely.
I love what you said about the trends, right? Social media is a perfect way to really know about new trends. Mm-hmm. Either if we agree with them or if we don't, but it gives us an idea because we can research. And then if a client comes to us and asks us, oh, what do you think about XYZ? You know about it, you have researched about it, and you can provide an evidence-based opinion, right?
Exactly.
Very nice. Let's see, what areas of dietetics are you most passionate about?
See, I think we talked about this. So I am actually still figuring that out. I want to say functional medicine is kind of what I'm gearing towards, but I don't know specifically what. So I guess that's, why I'm in an internship, to observe and learn and just be in an environment and to find out, or at least try to find out like what's for me. The great thing about being a future dietitian is that the more I learn about it, the more I find out that there's so many different jobs out there, and even jobs that you probably never even heard of or haven't existed. And I'm just so excited to see what's the right fit for me. And I'll let you know when I find out.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I think that is the beauty about our career, right? As nutrition professionals, nutrition experts, dietitians, is that we can pretty much go anywhere, right? Food is everywhere.
Yes, it is.
And so we can essentially go anywhere we want to go. Not, some people think, oh, you're just in the hospital, right? Or you're just in the kitchen. You can find dietitians anywhere, mm-hmm. Food marketing or advertisement or television, your sports, right? Your professional sports are going to have a dietitian. And so it's just really amazing to see that, for sure. And I think we jump into the interview so fast, but just for the listeners that maybe don't know what it takes to become a dietitian, right? You have to have a college degree, right? Either if it's in food and nutrition or something related, extra classes, right? It's a heavily science-based career or degree, right?
It's extensive.
So yeah, we take a lot of classes that doctors take, mm-hmm. A lot of science classes, physiology, anatomy, biochemistry, all that. Mm-hmm. Once we have a bachelor's, right, in science, specifically nutrition or whatever the case may be, and we decide to become dietitians, now we have to do an internship, right? And recently there has been a change that any new dietitian now has to also have a master's degree. So it's extensive, right? An extensive amount of education that dietitians go through. And so when someone says, "Oh, nutritionist is the same as dietitian," or I
It's
get
not.
this question
It's
often.
not.
So every dietitian is going to be a nutritionist,
Mhm.
right? Just that's the default. We are the food and nutrition experts, but not every nutritionist is going to be a dietitian, right?
Exactly.
That education part of it is huge. So someone can just call themselves nutritionist because they got a certificate, right? Or they got a few hours of training and that's it. But dietitians have a lot of education, and as I mentioned, right, we have to keep up with our educational units to maintain a registration. Anyway, so a little sign up there for you. How do you balance the theoretical knowledge, right, from school,
Mhm.
whatever you learn in school, with practical experience in the field?
So I try to connect it to whatever I'm going to learn. So I have my agenda or task list for the week, and based on what we're going to do and what I'm learning, I'm like, okay, this is where I can get more like hands-on experience, and I know that would help me learn. So for example, if we're looking at the nutritional counseling part, I can say like, oh, okay, I'm looking at observing what you're doing and how you're speaking, and then I'm tying that into like what I'm learning for better practice. So I am trying to make that connection as much as possible for me to get better at it.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. That's great. This might be a little tricky one, but you do have a lot of experience with sort of with this topic. But how do you approach nutrition education for individuals with limited access to healthy food?
Okay, so how do I approach the situation? So I think I would just tread lightly. Again, we want to adapt like our communication style to the person that we are communicating with, and I think I would just look for cues that if I, someone who's dealing with food insecurity, it might not be something that they speak about, but there are clues if you're listening, and you'll get that hint. But you can also make suggestions. So I would say, um, based on their environment or their age or what they're surrounded with, then I would always say, like, oh, did you know that they do this? This is a great idea to try out. Or based on whatever the patient or the client is saying, I think I would just like add on to what I'm receiving, so then I can gauge them in that direction if that's what we're trying to talk about. So um, I know at my undergrad where there was programs like if you qualified for financial aid, and that you were able to sign up for SNAP. And that was really great because a lot of students, they're working and they're trying to go to school full time, and there is food insecurity there.
Mhm.
So what's wonderful about that is that when we'd have like wellness days or pop-ups, or a lot of school activities, we're able to talk about that and share that with students. And it's, from what I've seen in my experience, has been really helpful to know that there is other resources and some people haven't even heard of. Or sometimes you get like, I didn't even know that was there. If I would have known, I would have checked it out.
Mhm.
Because now I think everybody can relate to this. Groceries are very high right
Mhm.
now. So anything that could help reduce, you know, that amount that you're spending, and then also in addition get more fruits or veggies or other sources of food, I think it's going to be beneficial to anybody.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is great. And you also today, right? You provided that the food pantry in the school, right? And
Mhm.
so that's another resource there, as well as like resources in the community, right? Like you said, sometimes people don't know that they're out there, right?
Mhm.
So like food banks, food pantries,
Mhm.
that they can go to and still be able to get these nutritious meals, like adding more fruits and vegetables or more of your shelf stable foods.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, awesome. Um, what advice would you give to someone considering a dietetic internship or a career in nutrition?
I think I would be one excited to hear about that because we definitely need more dietitians. And then two, I think one of the first questions I would probably ask is, "What's your why?" So I think that's really important when going into a major, especially something like dietetics and nutrition, because it's so essential. It's needed everywhere. Um, and then making sure that, once I find out their why, I would probably adapt what I would say to that person. But letting them know, like, always keep that, their why, that's close to them. Like, don't forget it. Like, remember it. Use that as their motivation throughout the process, because nutrition and dietetics is just not as easy as, like, oh, I took a nutrition class and that was so much fun and yay, like I'm done. No, it's hard. It's very it's challenging at times, and you really got, like, some parts of your journey in nutrition and dietetics, you really just got to push through those really tough classes, and if you want to get to the next level. And then, when you're in those positions, when you're dealing with, like, those challenges, and you stop and you think, like, do I want to continue this? This is really difficult. It's a lot more harder than I thought. You remember your why. And that's what I would give an advice to somebody who wants to be in nutrition and dietetics, because it's that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to want to come into this field, but hold on to that and, like, push through to the end.
Yeah, really love that because it's so true, right? It's not about just, oh, I love about learning about nutrition, right? Yeah, you're gonna have those classes, but you're also going to have like the really difficult classes, right? When you're
Mhm.
like, when you feel like, is this really what I want to do?
Mhm.
But I think that is lovely, holding on to your why. Like, I came into this field, right, because of this reason, right?
Mhm.
It's tough right now, but it's not always going to be like that. Let's just keep pushing through. I think that is awesome. Very nice. Let's see. Uh, this is a good one. I think we can discuss this a little further. But what role do you see technology playing in the future of dietetics?
So I see that being a huge role. I've seen it now, even throughout, like, my undergrad, going into, like, right now I'm a grad student, but I'm seeing it expand, at a fast rate, especially since we had the pandemic. A lot of people just, we had that fast switch where we had to adapt and do everything from our home. So it really did, like, innovate, like, so many changes to where, well, I can do this from the comfort of my home or my office or from anywhere else and still able to, keep up with, like, my important things. Like, if I had an appointment or if I needed to see a dietitian or my doctor, telehealth is huge. And apps, workouts. I don't always need to go to the gym. I can download an app and follow a workout from my phone or anywhere else they can have access to electronics. I think um, even, like, grocery shopping, we can do that from our phone. And there's just so many accessible things now with technology that we didn't have before. You hear remote jobs almost everywhere, which is pretty amazing because, those that have families and a lot of, like, obligations toward, family, it's something that's not always easy to be away from, your children or your loved ones. And if you can do that at home, you can work and you can go to your doctor's appointments, you can order groceries, you can work out, and so many other things. Like, I think that is a positive thing because it gives us more options for, um, like, what benefits you as an individual.
Awesome. Yeah, that is perfect. And I do have to agree with that accessibility, right? Thank you to the technology because now patients, right, or clients are able to communicate with dietitians or their healthcare providers with just a click, right? Like
Mhm.
telehealth or virtually. And that opens the door to those patients that maybe even now, right, maybe they can't travel, or they can't
Mm,
go, or they
exactly.
live further, or they're really busy. And so you can still get the treatment that you need, or get the support that you need, using one of these technologies too. So very nice. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and how do you plan to continue growing in the field of dietetics?
That's a good question. I will answer that the best that I can. So, in 5 years, I'm definitely hoping to be a registered dietitian, and I am hoping to have found what is right for me. As I mentioned before, that's what this dietetic internship is for. You kind of get a feel for different areas where you think you might want to pursue, or so I'm looking forward to the learning experience. And I feel that I gravitate towards so many different areas that it's hard to just pick one. It's like, okay, like, what's your favorite dessert? Like, I just want one. Like, no, I want more than one. So I don't know. Um, I'm looking at, like I said, functional medicine, possibly with kids. And then I also like media portions of it. And then see, I just don't know yet. We'll
Yes,
see.
okay.
But 5 years, yeah, I definitely hope to even be a preceptor, give back. I know that was something that in our undergrad they had asked, like, would you ever consider being a preceptor? And now that I'm in this position that I am as a dietetic intern, we need them. We absolutely need them. So it's so important that you are one and you're taking me. So I really appreciate that. But also, too, like, how else are we going to help grow or like develop future dietitians? Where are they going to learn from? Like, we need more preceptors, and we definitely need more dietitians. So the only way to, like, help with one thing is to do another. And I'm hoping I can be involved in a couple different things.
Awesome. Yes. Sometimes we don't know right away what we want to do, and that's okay, right? Like we said, with dietetics, you can go in so many ways, in so many areas. So, prior to having my prior practice, I did, women, infant, and children. I did long-term care, corporate wellness. I did dialysis, right? So
Mhm.
I think it is a good idea to have a good experience or exposure to things
Mhm.
in areas in dietetics, because then you really find, like, this is what I want to do. And then if you get tired, you can go do something else, right? Which is, that's the beauty
That's
of our
awesome.
career.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's why it's hard to
exactly.
choose.
It is hard to choose,
Where do I
absolutely.
start? But then
Right,
that is a beautiful thing.
right,
I don't like it, I will try something else. And
exactly. Yeah.
that is probably like one of the most beautiful things too about being a dietitian. You get to help others to something that's very important, such as health. And, we see all these chronic diseases that are expanding, and you get to be a part of, you know, the process of changing that. But then also career wise, it's like I'm not so stuck in
Right.
one thing. I can change it up if I want to. So
Mhm.
that's
Right.
pretty amazing. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then just to piggyback on the preceptor aspect of it, right? Yeah, giving back to your profession, right? To future dietitians, I think, honestly, I think that is something that everybody should do, right? Because, like you said, where are you going to learn these things, right? You do need preceptors, mentors, whatever, to be able to continue to grow, and being able to do your internship. So, yeah, any dietitians out there that are not preceptors, consider that, please. um that I think those are all the questions that I have for today. I'm definitely going to do another interview at the end of your internship and see where we're at. But any final thoughts, anything else that you would like to provide or say?
I would just say to any listeners out there who's just interested in dietetics, or, um, or in dietetics right now and still going to school, I would just say, like, it gets better. It is hard, but it gets better. And it's very rewarding as well. And plus, you always get food like pretty much everywhere. So if you're a foodie like me, and I'm sure most dietitians are, it's kind of why we're in this field also.
Right.
um, just, partner with your peers and piggyback on them. Or, dietitians are really supportive when you want to pick their brain about, like, how do you feel about this? And, perspective or advice. And I think we all know what it's like. We were all in that one position at one time and one point. And no matter if you're a beginner or if you're like what far ahead and you have like 20, 30, 40 years experience in the fields, there's always some perspective that could be provided. So don't be afraid to reach out, build your community, and build your network.
I love that. Awesome. Mic drop there. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Jessica, for this interview. Thank you, everybody for listening. If you have any more questions for me or for Jessica in the podcast app, you can send us a text or you can reach out to us. But that's it for now. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time.